When was the last time you actually sat down and looked at your numbers? Not because tax season was breathing down your neck, not because something went wrong, but just because. So if you just felt something in your stomach answering that question, then this video is for you. Most entrepreneurs don't have a money problem, they have a money avoidance problem. And the avoidance doesn't come from laziness or not caring. The avoidance comes from the fact that looking at your numbers feels like opening a report card that you didn't study for. So you're anticipating bad news. So what do? You close the tab, you tell yourself, oh, I'll look at it later. But then later becomes next week. Next week becomes 3 months before tax season, when suddenly you're scrambling and stressed and wondering, how did it get this bad? And here's what I know from being a CPA for over 16 years, working with business owners, creatives, contractors. What I know is that the avoidance costs more than whatever is in those numbers. Avoiding your numbers is the problem. So, because what you don't look at, you can't change it, you can't manage it. And what you can't manage quietly runs your business without your permission. I know this firsthand. My name is Chika Obi, and I'm a CPA of over 16 years. I'm an empowerment coach, and I work with women who have they built the thing and they're low-key wondering why the thing doesn't feel like enough, why it doesn't feel good. So if that's you, then you want to stick around. Stay with me, subscribe to my channel, and stay close so you don't miss a thing. Now, let me ask you this question. Come closer. Come closer. What if your monthly money check in felt less like an audit and more like a conversation with yourself? Not hours and hours of analysis, not a deep dive into every transaction. No, just 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, one time per month, where you sit down, you look at what's happening, and you ask yourself a few honest questions. Then you close the tab, and after you're feeling much more clear, you're feeling much more confident instead of anxious, instead of frustrated. That's it. Just 20 minutes a month. That is the whole habit. Now, doing that consistently, that changes everything. Not because you suddenly know more about accounting, but because you stop avoiding the thing that was quietly stressing you out and pissing you off. Let's be honest, right? Now, before you say, Chica, I already have a bookkeeper, this isn't for me. Hold on. I'm here to tell you that yes, I am speaking to you, especially if you have a bookkeeper. This is why. You see, your bookkeeper keeps your books clean. That's their job. They're great at it. You enjoy them. You've been working with them for months, if not years. But your bookkeeper, they're not in your head. That means they don't know that you've been meaning to cancel that software subscription for 3 months, but you keep putting it off, and you keep getting charged for it. So they don't know you were trying to cancel it, and you keep paying for it, even though you're not using it the way it needs to be used for it to make sense to keep, right? Your bookkeeper, they don't know that you have a client who still owes you money. They don't know that you're quietly stressed out every time you look at your bank balance, even though the revenue looks fine on paper. So, this monthly check in is not about bookkeeping. It's about you being the CEO of your own finances instead of just a passenger. Okay? When you do this, when you do the monthly money check in alongside your bookkeeper doing their thing, something shifts, something changes. You start asking better questions in your meetings. You start catching things faster. You make decisions from a place of clarity instead of fear, instead of avoidance. And your accountant actually gets to do more strategic work with you because you're not starting from zero every time you talk to your accountant. Ask me how I know this. This is how I work with my clients, right? And as an accountant, what I want to do, especially with my clients that are grossing multi six figures, seven figures, I'm not here to just be basic, right? You are paying me to really invest in the value, the growth of your business. And so that is where the strategy comes in, the tax planning comes in. And for us to get there, it's important for you to have a basic understanding of your numbers. And this is what the monthly money check in is all about. And to keep it real, when you are clear on your numbers, that clarity bleeds into everything else, right? That clarity bleeds into how you price, how you spend, how you show up, and how you grow. Now, it sounds dramatic, but a 20-minute monthly habit genuinely changes your relationship with money, and your relationship with money changes everything. Everything. So, yes, even if you have a bookkeeper, you want to do this. You want to pick up the monthly money check in habit, a 20-minute per month habit, especially if you have a bookkeeper. So, let me walk you through the habit, right? It's 5 steps. This is what the check in actually looks like. Step one, you just pull up your numbers. So, whatever system that you're using, if you're using QuickBooks, if you have a spreadsheet, pull that up. Also, pull up your bank account, your business bank account, right? So, just open it. Step two, now you want to write down the basics. So, in the spreadsheet, you're writing down the revenue number, the expense number, and the profit number. And remember, we're looking for them at the month, right? So the past 30 days, what came in, that's the revenue. Expenses, all the transactions, all the expenses that you paid for the business. And then once you total the revenue and the expenses, then you figure out your profit. Revenue minus expenses, figure out the profit. And then also you're writing down what is the bank balance at the end of the month? How much is in the bank account at the end of the month? Okay. And again, you're going to have those numbers up. So easy. You're just writing down what you see. Now, step three, ask yourself 3 questions. What's increasing? What's stable? And what feels off? So maybe you notice, okay, my revenue went up from 10,000 to 12,000 over the last month, right? So it went up $2,000. Okay, that's great. Maybe you notice, oh, interesting, the contractor expense went down. So maybe you pay 5,000 a month for contractors, it went down. Now it's only 4,200. Okay, that's something, right? So you're just writing down, what do you see? And then what feels off? Maybe you notice, oh my gosh, like I usually only spend about $400 a month on travel, but for whatever reason, this past month it's $2,000. Huh, interesting. And maybe in that moment, you just don't know why. Why? So it feels off because you don't know why. And that's it. You're not auditing yourself at this point. You're just observing. You're just looking at the numbers, you're looking at the transactions for the month, and you're just like, okay, that's cool. Okay. Oh, revenue. Ooh, yep. I got that extra client. My money went up. Great. Okay, expenses. Maybe they feel stable, right? You're just looking at it. You're observing. Now, step four, this is where you note anything that might need attention and you give it a next action. Okay, so with step four, you're not necessarily fixing anything right now, but you're also not just making a list that goes nowhere, right? So you're just jotting it down. So for each thing you notice, assign it a simple next step. So, for example, we talked about how in step three, where you're just asking yourself the 3 questions, which were what's increasing, what's stable, what feels off. And what fell off was your travel expense went from generally $400 a month to now $2,000 a month. Okay, so you notice that in step three. So in step four, you put a note on that. So with that notice, you can assign it a step or action. So that action could be, okay, let me look into that. Why did my travel go up from 400 to 2,000 over the last month? we'll look at that, right? So that's what you're doing. You're figuring out, okay, what action steps am I going to take? Just put a note because in this moment, when you're doing your monthly money check in, you do not necessarily have to go beyond just looking at the numbers in this point of it. You're just observing and you're noting if there's any action to take. And if the answer is yes, there is action to take, cool. Make a task, put it in your calendar. Maybe you need to follow up with the bookkeeper. Maybe it's a question that the bookkeeper knows. Maybe it's a question that your team member knows. Okay. So you're just noting it. Okay. If something is confusing, write it down. And again, you can bring that to your accountant if you have an accountant. And so think of step 4 as your triage. So you're not the surgeon, not yet. You're just deciding, okay, what goes where, what needs to be done, what needs to be looked into. Now we get to step 5. So, step 5, this is where you set aside your quarterly taxes. So, generally, I tell my clients set aside between 25 to 30% of your profit into a separate bank account. And this account should only be used for tax reasons, to pay off the IRS, to pay, or even payroll, right? But in this purpose, we're talking about your taxes. So you have an account, put that money aside, and you do that right now, not later. This is the one habit that is going to make tax time feel completely different next year. So that's it. Those 5 steps, then you close it. Take a breath. You just did what most entrepreneurs avoid for months, for years. That's it. Easy 5 steps. Now, this is what I want to tell you, the most important part. So, the most important part, this is what makes the monthly money check in different than just running a report, right? It's different than just pulling your profit and loss statement. So, in the monthly money check in process, there is a reflection component. So after the numbers, you answer those questions. What did I notice? What needs attention? What are the wins worth celebrating? What do I want to focus on next month? And you do this because money clarity isn't just math, right? When we think about money, it's not just numbers. Money is also how you feel about what the numbers are telling you. Okay. And so when you build in space to actually process the numbers, you're celebrating the wins, you're naming any concerns without spiraling. That's the goal, right? Then your relationship with money starts to shift. It starts to feel like it's information instead of feeling like it's a threat, like it's a problem, right? No, I'm just observing. This is just okay. This is what my money is looking like this month. Okay, right? You're just taking it in. You're just observing. You're not jumping to conclusions. You're not getting defensive. You're not deflecting. You're not judging your numbers. No, it becomes an observation. It becomes a neutral point. It's just information, okay? Now, the beautiful thing is, so I put this entire process, everything that we spoke about, I have it all set up for you. This entire process, I put it into a free guide called the Monthly Money Check-in Guide. And lucky for you, it's a Google Doc, which means you can write on it, right? So all you do is you download it, you can write directly in this document. And because it's a Google Doc, it saves automatically, which means you can come back to it every single month. There's no complicated software, there's no overwhelming spreadsheets, just a super simple, repeatable process that you will actually stick with. And this guide is all yours. Starting today, you can use it and it's completely free. So the link to the monthly money check-in guide is in the description below. So go ahead, click the link, download your check-in guide, and put your first check-in date on your calendar. When are you going to do this? Is it going to be the second Friday of every month? Put it on your calendar as a recurring event because remember, it's only 20 minutes a month. And let this month be the month that you stop avoiding your numbers. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.